afternoon. This is a hearing of the Chatham Conservation Commission being held on March 12th, 2025 in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Chatham Wetlands Protection Bylaw and Regulations. My name is Karen Latin and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast on Xfinity Channel 1072 and is being recorded in the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It is being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. The agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of documents for review are posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you have been recognized by the chair. When recognized, please identify yourself for the record. If you are attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by using *6. If you're attending online and you are not a commissioner, please keep your camera turned off unless you have been recognized. Indicate that you wish to speak by using the raise hand feature. So we have a record of a quorum. I will now ask each commissioner to identify their presence. Vice Chair Elise Gordon.
Present.
Janet Williams.
Present. Present.
Cheryl Meservey.
Present.
Eric Hilbert.
Present.
Bob Delvecchio is under the weather. Paul Johnson.
Present.
And I am here, and we've established that we have a quorum. Before we begin with the agenda, one of the first things on our agenda is time for public comments and future agenda items to be requested. If anybody online or any commissioners or anybody in the room has anything they would like to address, please, you have that time now. I see no one raising their hand or indicating that they would, so we will continue. Before we begin the real agenda, Catherine, are there any announcements of any requests for continuances today?
We have one request for continuance. Notice of intent at 98 Oyster Pond Furlong. The applicant has requested a continuance to April 23rd, 2025.
Great, thank you. At this point, Catherine Ricks, our Chatham's Assistant Conservation Agent, will now lead us through the agenda.
We have an order of conditions at 43 Morris Island Road, map 16A, parcel 1-10 for 43 Morris Island Road, Mass DEP SE 10 3712. Proposed addition of a covered porch with a roof deck on the rear of the existing home within the area of the existing stone patio.
Thank you. How are you? I see that you are online.
I am online
And you
today.
received the order?
Yes, we did. We read through it, and we have no issues with the order.
Okay, thank you. Do any commissioners have anything that they'd like to see modified or added to the order as it stands right now? Okay, then we can go to a motion, please.
I move that we close the hearing on 43 Morris Island Road and approve the order of conditions as written.
Second.
Okay, Cheryl.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
And I say aye. So you're all set. As soon as it's available, Crystal will contact you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Okay, thank you. Catherine, the next, please.
Okay, we have a request to amend an order of conditions at 498 and 500 Shore Road, map 16G, parcels 3D-A5 and 3E-A6 for Stephen and Stacy Brierton, Mass DEP SE 10 3645, access stairs and bank stabilization. Second Amendment proposes approximately 9,200 square feet of invasive plant management and restoration of a native plant community on the coastal bank, Phase 2.
How are you?
Hi, everyone. Matt Lautenberger from Wilkinson here. Thank you for having me. So again, this is an amendment to come into this site where we've already done some work doing some stabilization at the bottom of the bank and some mitigation restoration closer to the house. And between those two, we'd like to do about 9,100-ish square feet of invasive species removal. We're planning a pretty extensive planting to go in its place. There's also a tree which we are asking to have removed because it's a hazard. It's got some rot on the seaward side of it, and it's leaning significantly towards the house. And we are proposing to replace that with 3 trees closer to the bank. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have about this amendment.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody want to start? I know this is phase 2. You did add the Mow strip, thank you. I saw that. You added the stairs into the plan, so that's good. I think it's about 60 to 70% invasives that you'll be removed, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And can you just, so that we have it again for the record, clarify what will happen in the easement area?
Our plan has us removing the invasive species that are in the easement area, but not planting anything to be replaced in that 10-foot strip. We understand there's still some discussion about what's going to happen there, so we don't want to have to come back in and remove any mitigation plants afterwards.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Janet, do you have anything?
Yeah, just to follow up on that question, Matt, once the invasives are removed, I know you're not planting, but how will that part of the bank be stabilized?
We'll still be seeding it, and if there
Okay.
are any bare soils that look like they're in erosion risk, I don't think there are any on that side, we would put erosion blanketing on them. And again,
Okay.
that's biodegradable, so it would eventually just sort of become part of the soil, wouldn't need to be removed or anything if someone put something over it.
Okay, that's sensible. I do have a question, and maybe it's less for you than for the other commissioners. Because this is the Second Amendment and this plan has been evolving over time, I wonder if the wording on the plan itself, the proposed fiber roll array and proposed reinforced transitional high marsh, was done in the, I believe it was the original order. And I'm wondering whether that creates confusion at this point, since that work has been done, and we could change that to existing, or ask, is that the right thing to do when you're at the Second Amendment phase?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm wondering if maybe you could just change the wording to previously approved with the
Yes, that's it.
order that approved,
Yep.
it's this order, but maybe
Yeah,
you say
previously
previously
approved would-
approved.
Yep, and we can even put the date that it's installed on there too, so there's
Okay.
a record of that.
That's great. That's great. So that when you come to COC time, all the different segments are identified.
I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Janet.
Okay.
And
I have
that's
one
not
other
gonna
question.
slow anything down.
Yeah, we
Go
could
ahead.
get that to you by Friday.
Okay, Janet, what
Yeah,
else?
That's just a simple changing. I'm just wondering about, so the planting, then in the shaded purple area, you've got 50 native shrubs going in there. And I guess I'm wondering about the size and density, because you have 50 shrubs going into a 9,200 square foot area, which I compare to, for example, what went into the green mitigation area. That was only 450 square feet, and it was planted with 79 shrubs. I'm wondering whether this is going to be too sparse, or are they going to be large enough that you don't have to wait 15 years for it to grow in?
Yeah, I can answer that. We're actually planning to put 98 shrubs in there, and
where did I get 50?
three white oak. The reason the planting is a lot less dense is mostly because there are a lot of good species that are still out there that our assumption would be that once we clear out the invasives, what's already out there is going to be able to expand. Our planting is going to supplement that, but most of the regrowth is going to be coming from stuff that's already in place.
So that's the roughly 30%, 30 to 40% that's staying.
Correct. And those are, if we're talking about what's coming out, it's a lot of vines, it's a lot of smaller shrubs, and what's staying is the larger woody shrubs.
Okay. So on those smaller, the vines, that's where you're going to be doing the spraying because they're too small for cut and wipe.
Yeah, there
Is there
are some areas, particularly of English ivy on the northern side of the parcel, that we would recommend spraying. Once you get to the southern side and it converts more into like bittersweet and honeysuckle, we apply the herbicide directly to the stems in that case.
Right. Right. Is there any? But I'm just questioning the impact on the existing natives. If you're doing even a low volume foliar spray, how do you protect them from any damage from that?
The areas where we would be spraying with the vine cover are almost completely, the native shrubs are more or less completely absent. And when we're doing the low volume foliar spraying, we're getting the tip of the nozzle close enough to the plant that there's no risk of drift. And we'd
Okay.
really only expect to see the herbicide affecting the plants on which we've directly sprayed their leaves.
Okay, so you'll be applying best management practices for this particular situation to protect the natives that are there. Okay. I don't know where I got the 50. It must have come from the land. From I see the 98 on the plan. It must have
Yeah,
been somewhere else. Okay.
I think the numbers are split up between what's north of the stairs and what's south if you're looking at the plan directly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is split. Okay. Last question. So on the mechanical removal for the larger invasives, are the root systems being left in place to decay, or are they going to be removed?
All roots are going to be left in place to decay. The mechanical assistance that we'll be using here is mostly just, it's a small machine, a dingo right at the top of the bank, used to winch up heavier plant material and to transport that from the top of the bank to our disposal on the driveway. So
The
we wouldn't
driveways,
be
yeah.
going in with like a root grapple and tearing anything out on the bank. It's too delicate there to do that.
Okay. That's what I did see a reference in the narrative to root grappling, and that's what got my attention about whether that was appropriate in this situation, because it was followed then by a sentence that did say the roots would be left in place to decay. So we'll just condition it that way. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Anybody have anything else? I don't see anybody online. I don't see anybody here with questions. I think we can go to writing the amended order. The earliest would be 2 weeks from now, which is March 26th, or we can go into April. Your preference?
Soon as possible.
Okay,
yeah.
so we will continue it to March 26th. If we could have a motion, please.
I move that we continue 498 and 500 Shore Road for an amended order of conditions.
Second.
Okay, Cheryl?
Aye.
Paul, Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye, and that's to March 26, 2025.
Oh, okay. And Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye, so we will have that ready for you at the next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Catherine, the next one, please.
Okay, we have a request for determination of applicability at 224 Scattery Road, map 17J, parcel 3-8A for the Point House LLC, R25-1, deck reconstruction.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
So the Point House LLC, 224 Scattery Road, has a fairly small project. They've got an existing deck, got 3 supports. It's been there for many decades and requires replacement in kind. Same dimension, same elevation will be attached to the house just as it is. The stairway will be exactly as it is presently because it's just replacement of in kind. It's not going to zoning. It's an open lawn area. It is within the flood zone. Work would be done by hand, and I don't have much more to add to that. Be happy to take your questions. Thanks.
Okay, do any commissioners have any questions? Go ahead, Elise.
When you say in kind, does that include the material? It'll be timber?
Great question. It's my understanding that it would be wood. I could envision a composite railing, but I don't believe it's going to be anything but wood frame. It would be wrong for me to say they might not use a Procel or an AZAC decking. I just don't have architectural details fully fleshed out.
Okay.
We're not big on AZEC in that area, so
Well, that's good to know.
it would be,
I
Wood?
think we would not want to offend you with any use of undesirable materials. The flood zone is an AE.
right,
It's not terrifically tough, but we'll accommodate your restrictions. It's going to be pretty well put together, I will tell you that. And I don't see the decking breaking away or becoming wreckage, if that's what your concern is.
it's in the future, the probable leaching of the plastic. So we support, treated wood that meets that standard, and aluminum.
Well, then, I will take that to the applicant. If we're not consistent with your wishes, I know it's an RDA, so it's not conditioned, but you're welcome to condition the RDA for applicant's agreeable cooperation.
Which
How's that?
we can do, right? Yeah, we've done it in the past, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else that's right here? Otherwise, I'll go to Janet. Janet, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay,
As I look at it, it's exactly the same that was there before, so
Exactly.
there's no alteration.
so I think that we can have a motion, and it's a -3 RDA approval.
Do I close the hearing?
Yes, please.
I move that we close the hearing on 224 Scattery Road for an RDA -3.
Does she have to announce the condition, or no?
As conditioned, just say
As
as
conditioned,
conditioned.
as conditioned. Thank you,
Second.
Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye. So you're all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next one, Catherine.
Okay, we have a notice of intent at 98 Oyster Pond Furlong, map 13E, parcel 29-11A, for Stephen A. and Haley G. Nadas, Mass DEP SE 10-3682, construction of a beach access catwalk. The applicant has requested a continuance to April 23rd, 2025.
I move that we continue 98 Oyster Pond Furlong to April 23rd, 2025.
Second.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next, please.
Okay, notice of intent at 176 Stage Island Road, map 14A1, parcel 2-D107, for John H. Kim, trustee, Mass DEP SE 10-3725, pier repair and modification.
How are you?
Good evening. For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape and Islands Engineering, the engineers and surveyors for this project. And with me is Mike Tanis from Blue Flags Design. And I believe online we have Teresa Sprague, also from Blue Flags Design. This NOI application on behalf of the homeowner and applicant, John Kim, is for reconstruction of a portion of the pier that has collapsed, and then shoring up the eroding coastal bank. So last year, after a storm, or after several storms, portion below the top section of the pier collapsed. The section below that pier was held in place with two piles and a timber bulkhead. The bank collapsed and exposed the entire bulkhead and the pier has since collapsed after that failure. What we're proposing to do is remove the failing portion of this pier and reconstruct it at a slightly higher elevation with a longer stair. And then the shoreline, the bank along the shoreline will be stabilized with the design by Blue Flags Blue Design. The resources on or within 100 feet of this project are land under the ocean, which is Stage Harbor, land containing shellfish, coastal beach, coastal bank, there is a salt marsh, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. All the work is proposed on the bank. However, we do need access on the beach to shore up the coastal bank. And approximately 210 square feet of this bank is proposed to be shore up with the fiber rolls. Mike, if you have anything else to add?
Mike Dennis, Blue Flags Design. So the plan proposes the installation of a fiber roll array to stabilize the bank. It'll be high-density fiber rolls with additional courses of low-density rolls secured with corrosion-resistant metal duckbill anchors and galvanized steel cables to hold it all in place. Biodegradable 900-gram jute will be installed behind and on top of the fiber rolls to protect the fiber roll array. All existing construction and stone debris will be excavated from the bank prior to installation and removed from the site. Compatible sand will be brought in to cover the fiber rolls afterwards to a minimum depth of 6 inches. That sand will be seeded with a mix of native grasses and covered with biodegradable erosion control blankets. The array will then also be plugged with salt-tolerant native grasses, American beach grass and switchgrass. And then sand nourishment will be ongoing annually as necessary in order to maintain cover over the fiber rolls to a depth of 6 inches. The access for the installation will be from the parking area at 150 Stage Island Road, the neighboring property to the east. It will be accessed via the coastal beach between the two properties above the mean high water line working east to west. So a silt fence will be installed seaward of the access. Thick plastic alterna mats will be laid down and linked together across the entire access area to protect the beach and any vegetation there may be. At the end of each day, mats and all equipment will be removed from the beach and staged in the parking area at 150 Stage Island Road. Work will not take place during extreme high tide events. In the area immediately surrounding the fiber roll array, invasive vegetation, including shrub honeysuckle and bittersweet, will be selectively treated with herbicide and removed mechanically or, well, by hand. One oak tree that has fallen into the marsh will also be removed where the fiber roll array is being installed. And 4 arrowwood viburnum will be planted adjacent to the fiber roll array to replace the vegetation that is lost during the excavation. Ready for any questions?
Okay, I'll let commissioners go if anybody wants questions. Go ahead, Eric.
The first platform you're raising up, so how far back towards the house do you have to go to remove the old walkway and regrade? So you have to raise the grade to meet the new platform, correct?
So, right, for those who can see the photographs that were included in the notice, so you see that there is at-grade steps with infill brickwork leading up to the top platform right now. That transition between that last at-grade step to that platform has also collapsed and is kind of buried behind the section that's collapsed. So that's the level of the step that we're going up to. So in terms of height, we're roughly going from an existing elevation top deck of 13 to 15.4. So it's approximately 2.5 feet higher. However, the landing is getting a lot smaller. We're practically just doing a 4x4 landing instead of the existing one that's roughly some 10 feet or maybe 12 feet long. But the stairs are getting longer to get that additional 2.5 feet. What we're doing to get that stair is we're pulling the stairs back to the edge of the middle landing of the pier, and then going back to the proposed top landing.
And the last question I have, are you gonna reactivate the bell so the bell can be used again?
We don't anticipate that bell to be removed,
It is pretty neat.
It's
but
a pretty big bell.
yeah,
It
we
is.
don't anticipate it being removed, but if it needs to be removed, I'm pretty sure the homeowner wants to put it back.
Yeah.
Any other commissioners?
Just one quick question. You mentioned that one of the trees is going to be removed. I'm looking at the picture here. Can you tell
That
which-
one.
Okay, that's what I would have guessed too. I just wanted to confirm that that was it. Thank you.
Elise?
I note in the construction notes that the boardwalk, the width is not to exceed 4.5 feet, and our regulation now is for 4 feet. Is the rest of the pier at 4.5, or,
It doesn't matter.
well, it doesn't, it really needs to be 4 feet?
And that's
total.
4 feet at the widest.
Outside.
Your rails are inside of that. It's so it's not that the rails are 4 feet apart. So that's our regulation.
So, right, what we had designed here was reconstructing the same width that was there. So we
Right,
used the 4.5
but-
because everything was there. But if the new regulations are that we cannot be more than 4 feet wide, this is just a landing. The stairs are still 4 feet. So if that's a condition, that can easily be accommodated.
Okay, so we'll need that modified on your, everywhere that you've mentioned that. Anything else, Elise?
Go ahead.
Janet, do you have anything?
Yep, just a quick question. So do you have in place all of the permissions that you need to utilize the access and the staging areas at 150?
Yes, we have worked with that homeowner before, and we have her permission.
So we,
Okay.
to tag on to that, sorry, Janet, we need
Go ahead.
something from them that says that they are granting access
Okay?
so that, and the access route should be on the plan as well.
Okay.
And Janet, anything else?
Yeah, maybe I missed it, but I didn't see a variance request.
Exactly. That was one of my others, so thank you.
I beat you to it, Karen, but yeah, this is work on a coastal bank, so it does require that.
And an alternatives analysis goes with the variance request. Go ahead.
One last thing. So the invasive vegetation, it's not described in detail. I heard you just say that the invasives in the immediate area of the fiber roll array. Is there a way that you can put that on the plan so that it's clear exactly where that's going to be taking place? Or is that the green?
Yes, I can show that on the plan.
Yeah, I see the green shaded must be where, so you're talking about the area exactly around it, or
Just the area
it's not?
immediately around it. So the green shaded area is would roughly encompass the fiber roll array.
Right. And then what is your plan for preventing invasives from moving into that area? If you're removing it in a small area. I can't tell how much, what the extent of the invasives around there is and whether that's
We will be.
Feasible.
We will be monitoring it. So every spring we'll be going out and assessing the fiber roll array and doing beach nourishment. And at that time, we'll also be following up and treating any invasive vegetation that's growing back
Okay.
towards the array.
okay. We can put that into the order too, so that's fine. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Okay, so we covered that we need a variance. We also covered the width of the steps. You say it's pressure-treated southern pine. What are the chemicals that are in that?
So I know that the CCA is not the one
Right.
That is now allowed, so it's ACQ.
Okay, it is.
One that is readily available.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. We don't have a coverage table, and we need that, because that's what we base mitigation on, and it looks like you are thinking that this maybe is bigger than what it was, because you say it's the new 5-foot by 16-foot pier platform with a deck elevation of 15.4. So I'm thinking, because the way it's pictured, when I was there, I think that top decking part above the steps is probably more than what's physically there right now. And what's physically there right now is just some timber little steps. So we do need a coverage table, and we'll have to see if mitigation, meets, if that, just doing what you're doing meets the mitigation needs. And can you tell me, what's the slope of your fiber rolls?
We usually aim for around 45 degrees at the max, and so we do excavate a little bit into the bank to create that stable slope. And then, so
Okay.
we're aiming for about 45 degrees.
Okay, Catherine, will that work? I mean, is that okay, or,
I would say no steeper than that, but as long as that's anchored in.
yeah?
I should say that's the max we aim
And
for.
is this the one where, I think it is, where I read it's duckbill anchors?
Yes.
Am I right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was remembering correctly. Okay. Any other things from the commissioners? How about anybody online or in the room? Seeing nothing, I think we.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
my hand's been
Oh,
raised.
yes. I did see a hand
worry.
earlier, but then I didn't see it was still up. Oh, yes. Grace, go ahead, please.
That's okay. So I am Grace Petita Williamson. I am the acting refuge manager for Monomoy National Wildlife Refuge. And we are in a butter to this property. We're at I think it's Zero Stage Island. I'm fairly new to this also, but I am familiar with the piece of property. I do have a couple of questions. First, I really appreciate the nature-based solutions for trying to, stabilize the shoreline there, or the bank, I should say. And maybe this is going to be addressed in the alternative analysis, but I am very curious on how our shoreline might be impacted. We do use that pretty actively. Our season for getting out to the island is just about starting up. We're in and out of there quite a bit. So I'm hoping that's going to be addressed on what are we expecting for us as abutters? Are we going to have less sand coming through? Are we going to have more? We do use that to, our boats launch from there as well. So really curious on if that's going to be part of the alternative analysis or not. And then time of year restrictions. And again, I'm new to this process with the town, but I'm sure at some point we'll be talking about that, and I just don't know when that enters in. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Would you like to address that?
I had trouble hearing a bit of it, but that's.
She wants to know how her area is going to be affected by the work you're doing, as far as sand, whatever. And also when time of year for the work.
So we will be putting out a silt fence that will be running along the access road in front of your property. And as we excavate out to put the fiber roll array in, we will be spreading that sand out along the beach. It wouldn't be much, but it would further help to protect the beach.
Are you talking about now or long-term, ma'am?
I'm talking about actually now and long-term,
Okay,
so.
long-term, it's hard to predict, but
Yeah.
it's almost impossible long-term. Because if they put sand down and the sand will move, there will always a little bit of sand will move around. It's just part of nature. There's always ebb and flow, but as far as, you can't predict the future on long-term, what could happen,
But for the short term.
yeah,
Actually,
short-term,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, there are modeling predictions. I mean, that our building was removed, the demolition because of the erosion on Wickus Way. There is some modeling that could be done to incorporate whether it's storm surges or increased sand, but having a bolstered shoreline, even though natural, will still impact us to some degree. And then having the annual replenishment of sand will again impact us, whether it's
What-
we're creating more shoreline or we're losing the depth for our boats to go out. So
The replenishing of sand is over the fiber rolls. It's not below
Okay.
the fiber rolls. It's in, when you install fiber rolls, and I'll let you really get into it, but they have to put something on top to protect them. So now I'll let you.
Yeah, every year, just on top of the fiber roll array, to protect the fiber roll array, we add enough sand to get about 6 inches of cover over the fiber roll array. We're also going to be plugging that with beach grass and switchgrass, and hopefully that will establish and prevent the need over time for as much sand to be put there.
Okay, thank you. And so the replenishment would also go through the other abutters, the 180 Stage Harbor Road? Is that where it's coming from, or is it coming from the water?
150?
It would go through.
150, sorry, yeah, I can't read it, sorry.
Yes, it would go
150.
through 150, and it would be a one-day in and out thing, so.
Okay. And are we going to be notified for each time that happens as well, in case something happens? Just trying to think about it in advance.
Yes, you could be notified, of course.
Okay,
you.
I'll add that
that answers my
into,
questions.
that would be added into the order when we write it, that you would be notified if they are doing any replenishment of the fiber roll array.
Yes, thank you. That's
Okay, commissioners, anything else based off of what you've just heard from Grace? Okay, we're going to have, Jen, did you have anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, all of a sudden you popped up, and I thought, oh, maybe Janet does. We are going to need to continue, go ahead.
I did hear that you didn't receive the area calculations. In the package that I see that was emailed and mailed, I see that the area calculation form was included. So I just wonder if it's just that it's missing from your package?
Anything's possible.
Because the proposed landing that we are doing now, it's going over the existing brick and steps at grade. So in terms of square footage development, there is no increase in development.
You checking yours too, Cheryl? I'm quickly looking, just one sec.
But I know we're gonna request a continuance, so if we're missing it from the filings, I'll be happy to send it again.
Yeah, I don't have that in mind, and I think Cheryl has the same as I do. So we will need it. And since you already have it, you'll be able to easily. When would you like us to continue to?
It looks like the changes that I'm being asked to show on the plans are fairly simple in my case. How about you?
Same.
So I could get a revised plan this week, at the end of the week. So I don't know if that's enough time
Okay,
for.
and you'll also get a letter from the abutter, from 150, that's,
We'll reach out to them today.
okay, and that includes, you're going to give us a variance, you're going to change the width,
The width
to
of 4
4.
feet. Yep.
you're going to give us a coverage table, and if you would, on the plan for the fiber rolls, if you would put down the slope, that would be helpful. And we need you to describe the invasives and, hopefully what percentage. There is a tree coming out, and I know it's fallen because of erosion, but you should have a tree going in somewhere on that property to replace that. Well, it should be 2 trees, because you're right on top, so at least 2 trees. Time of year for your work. I think that's pretty much it. So you want us to go to the 26th?
Yeah, if something happens and we don't make it, we can just ask for a second continuance.
You can. All right.
Okay. I move that we continue 176 Stage Island Road to March 26, 2025.
Second.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, thank
Thank you.
you. All right, the next one, please. Catherine.
Notice of intent at 27 Strong Island Road, map 12M, parcel 16-B19 for William C. Benjamin, Mass DEP, SE 10 3726, replacement of existing patios and walkways with dry-laid ashlar bluestone and dry-laid brick, reconfigure patio steps, and landscape improvements.
Hi, how are you?
Afternoon. I'm William Benjamin, 27 Strong Island Road. We purchased this property about a year and a half ago. We'd like to upgrade the landscaping and make some minor changes to the patio and the front walkway, and extend the front walkway by adding a brick path from the front door to a side door. I think the landscaping changes are shown pretty clearly on the landscape plan that you have. And I tried to complete the application myself. That was quite an undertaking, I must say.
I admire you for trying.
I'm sure I missed a few things, but I'm happy to make any corrections that you might deem necessary.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to start? Go ahead, Cheryl.
I just want to say I apologize for not knocking at your door today when I came to your property.
No problem.
Usually I
That's
knock.
understood.
I do apologize.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments, questions?
A couple of things. So,
Go ahead, Eric.
so when we were site visiting it, you're not taking out every beach plum, right?
No,
So that's a great compromise.
All but one.
Oh, you're saving one?
saving one.
Oh, okay. Now, so this is the total mitigation on the bank, correct? That's the total mitigation. Okay. I mean, the trees being removed, I don't have a problem with that. I think the last meeting, there was only a question about the beach plum as being a decent size, and it was a mitigation for a project previously, so technically we're removing the mitigation to put mitigation in. I understand that the beach plums they get big, and unfortunately they get trimmed, which isn't the right way to trim beach plum. The only thing that I would bring up would be the size difference of what you're taking out and what you're putting in. You're putting roses in, a lot of roses.
The idea was to put in low-growing shrubs that
Right, so you
not
don't
need
have
to
to-
be pruned in the future.
Right. Okay, I'll pass on that, thanks.
Anybody else? Janet? Maybe I lost Janet?
No, I'm here. I just have to
Okay.
struggle to find that unmute button. I'm here. No, nope, I haven't have any questions. Thanks.
Okay. So your coverage table, where is it?
That's on the site plan?
No, it's in your application. You say the net change in the NDZ, which is up to 50 feet, is 14 square feet less.
Correct.
The outer aura, it's 107.
Right.
So there is a net change total of 93.
Right.
And you are proposing 50 feet of mitigation for losing 93. It has to be more than 93 or more. I'm not real sure I understand your spot that you're putting the mitigation in. It's so way off in the middle of nowhere. So could you just speak to that?
Can't really
That's the
speak
mitigation.
to specifics in terms of the square footage?
Well, we're going to need more than 2 swamp azaleas, because you're saying that that's 50 square feet of mitigation there, and you need to have at least 93. So you are going to have to increase something somewhere.
I think perhaps the fact that the new native plantings up along the bank and in that NDZ are 710 square feet.
The only thing was that you're saying that the mitigation is that little part down in the bottom right area. And I get it. So what I'm saying is that you ought to be highlighting that everything is mitigation. And the reason you're taking out the beach plums is just because they get big?
They're big, they're right in the view from the house.
But the deck is elevated, correct?
There's no deck. There's a
Well,
there's
patio.
a stone patio.
Patio, I'm sorry. You're removing 410 square feet, so that is, I think, within the 50, although I don't see, no, yeah, it definitely is, because everything's within the 50. So those you're taking out, so you're really at like almost 500 square feet. And within the 50, you have to double the amount of mitigation. So it should be even the 50 that you've proposed, because it really should be, let's see, it was 93, so it should be 186, and you're proposing 50, and then you're taking out 410. So I think you need to look at your mitigation and calculations. Just to make sure, because it needs to meet the requirements for what's going out. And you've got 410, and you got to actually, because it's on the coastal bank, that is a 3-to-1. So 410, you're up to 1230. Then you've got, I don't know what the rest is you're proposing mitigation for.
Can I make a small suggestion that might help you a lot on the impact? What if you took every other beach plum out? And they would still, it would lower your impact, and you'd still have a wonderful view of the pond. You would have space in between, you have a little bit of contrast between low shrubs, some high shrubs. I think, and plus it'll shade a little bit and protect all your new plantings. Would, that you could consider that, because there was a mitigation project.
Do you know how long ago?
I don't know, but I think it would be, if you took out every other one, you would create, you would create probably 6 feet spacings in between.
3614 is the order.
If we were to do that, would we be able to get permission to prune the remaining ones from time to time?
You need to apply.
Yeah, you could you talk to the agent. You could probably do it on an admin review or something. You're talking about the few that you're going to trim a little bit on the tops, yeah. You would have to talk to the agent on that.
Is that what that order's from, 2023?
They're reasonable, let's put it that way.
So you have an outstanding order that is from 2023, from March of 2023. I don't have anything else, any other information yet. I haven't gone back except for to 2019, so if anything was before that, I don't have it right now.
Well, any of the prior orders expired with the change in ownership, was my understanding.
Orders don't expire.
It said right in the order that it did.
What? Oh, you know that? I'm not seeing that a certificate of compliance has been issued for it. So technically, that order is still open.
It would, if it was, and I know Crystal could probably look this up or has this information, I'm not sure if it was closed out or not, but if it was 2023,
It's
it's a
still
three-year
open.
order, it's still active.
Yeah, it's still active. I checked yesterday with Crystal, and it was not, you had not gotten a certificate of compliance yet for it. So it is still an active order.
And they
And if you
transfer.
need a copy of it, Crystal can provide that. Also, you say you're removing a pear tree and 3 shrubs that are to the left of your, when you're looking out at the pond, to the northwest or whatever.
Correct.
One of them's almost like a foundation planting.
But if you're removing a tree, you have to, you're within the NDZ, you have to put in 2 new ones. So you do need more mitigation, is really kind of what I'm getting to.
All right, well, we'll see how we can accomplish that and consider Eric's suggestion that we
Yeah,
retain a couple.
that would
of
help
each.
you. Yeah, I just check and see the amount that you're taking out. And on the coastal bank, it's 3-to-1. In the NDZ, it's 2-to-1. So evaluate that as far as how many square feet are taking out and what needs to go back in. And just call everything mitigation. You only highlight that little green area as mitigation, and I'd love if you'd consider kind of putting mitigation not off in the little corner, making it a little bit more obvious that it's mitigation. We're not big on little teeny areas dotted around the property.
Do you prefer that it be within the aura or outside the aura, or it doesn't matter?
You may place it where you feel that it would be a good spot. You know,
Plus, it's easier to maintain until it gets established if it's closer together, you know?
yeah, exactly, which is why we prefer not all over the place. So, having said that, and I'm sorry, I know you appeared before us before with this same plan as an RDA, and we said that it needed to be an NOI, so I appreciate that you're back. When would you like to come back? We have March 26th, we have April 2nd, April 9th, April 23rd.
Well, we'd like to get going, so March 26th.
Okay.
Is there anything else that I should bear in mind?
I think, well,
You are
you
proposing
did
to...
request a variance, correct?
Yes.
And you provided the alternatives.
Well, I didn't
Okay.
really do much on the alternatives because there didn't seem to be any
Right.
alternative.
I would say maybe, just make sure in the, well, you're not in the outer aura. So in the NDZ, it has to be 100% native plantings.
Right, which it is.
100%. So even, I think you're at I'm assuming the hydrangeas, you're just outside.
That's outside.
So you're in good shape there. Okay.
All right,
So that would be it.
all right. Well,
So we can have
see you on the 26th.
yep, we can have a motion,
I
please.
move that we continue 27 Strong Island Road to March 26, 2025.
Second?
Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye. Thank you so much.
I don't have to do a new mailing for that, do I?
No, just update your plan.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Catherine, the next.
Okay, we have a notice of intent at 112 Independence Lane, map 13B, parcel DC5 for Scott and Inslee Copeland, Mass DEP SE 10-3727, construction of a barn and driveway expansion within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland.
Good afternoon, David Clark, Clark Engineering, and Mike Tanis from Blue Flax Design.
So as stated, the applicants wish to construct a barn. To get access to the barn, they need to reconfigure their driveway. So basically, the garage or the barn is for storage of a boat and a vehicle that they keep here all year round. Because it's sporadic use of the structure, we're proposing geoblocks and basically keep that area between the barn and the existing driveway as grass. And to offset some of the increases in non-native vegetation and structure, the portions of the driveway that are in the NDZ, we're going to excavate the center portion and put in a grass strip. That would be planted with native fescues. So that reduces the overall impact. Again, the resource area is a BVW that is part of that Cedar Swamp not estuary, but area that drains out to Stage Harbor. The floodplain is close to this lot, but but 100 feet from that floodplain doesn't enter onto this lot. Happy to answer any questions on the site plan. Oh, this doesn't require any zoning relief. So if there's any questions on the site plan, I'd be happy to answer them, and Mike's here to talk about the mitigation.
Why don't, oh, yeah, you go ahead and then we can ask questions.
So for the 536 square feet in structure, we're mitigating with 536 square feet of converting lawn into native woody vegetation. And we're also proposing to manage invasive and aggressive species within the 974 square feet previous mitigation area for a previous product. So there's bittersweet, honeysuckle, mugwort, porcelain berry, rugosa rose. We're gonna remove those while protecting the already planted mitigation plants that are there. We're gonna treat those with herbicide and remove them. And then any bare areas will be seeded with a seed mix. And that will expand. So we're putting the new mitigation next to the old mitigation to create a contiguous habitat. We're removing, one pitch pine for the construction of the garage, and we'll be replacing that with a swamp white oak and a serviceberry.
So you're actually taking out 2 trees.
The other one's outside.
Oh, well, no. Oh, yeah, it's in the middle. True.
It's outside the 100. I
Thank
just
you.
checked it too.
Just barely. Boy, everybody's going just barely lately. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody have questions, comments? Eric?
I don't have on the construction plan of it. I just don't like the area of mitigation. To me, it's more of a planting bed in the middle of the property. To me, the logical area for mitigation would be on the, what would that be? That would be like south of the house.
In front of the house.
Yeah, in front of the house. The mowing, there's mowing that already goes down the hill. To me, mitigation should encourage the resources there to grow. And you already have irrigation heads that are like 1/3 down the hill. So it would be an easy fix to put the irrigation up higher, and then you can run off whatever you want. But to me, that's where the mitigation should be, down, on the slope from the top of the bank down. I think you'll have enough room. It's nice that you're fixing this bed over here and everything. It's full of weeds and stuff, but it's on the other side of a driveway, that's on the other side of, it's not really adjacent to anything there. It's my concern.
Okay, thank you. Janet, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to agree with Eric that the logical place to put any mitigation is closer to the resource area and not by a paved roadway, but my attention was caught by the fact that I didn't realize that this area was previously a mitigation area.
Yeah, I
Do you
didn't wanna
guys
bring
know
Part of it,
when that was?
part of it
when that?
was, and I'm not sure, when was that mitigation? Do you know when that was for?
I do, 2007.
Okay,
Okay,
I haven't
so,
gone back that far.
so quite some time ago. All right, so I'll hold the lecture on not maintaining a mitigation area, I guess over, what is that, 17 years or so. But it should still be, the invasive still should be dealt with, but I would also prefer to see real mitigation for this project go close to the resource area, to that wetland.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
And I have to say, I agree, and I also, part of the reason I agree is that you're leaving a spot for that fire hydrant, and right now there's an opening in the fence for it, because that's how I went into the property. But this sort of hides the fact that the fire hydrant's there, even though you're leaving a spot. So it seems like, I mean, there's a nice spot where they've done that beach plum, and I don't know what else is in there. I saw some porcelain berry, but other than that, I'm not good at identifying anything but porcelain berry, so.
Rosa Rugosa.
Yeah, well, Eric was there, and he's going, oh, and this is, but I knew porcelain berry.
I'm surprised that was allowed.
And, I think there's some real benefit to putting it sort of at that slope, because you've got a wonderful area, and it's not really a very large grass area, and you could still have grass.
You could leave 22 inches before you start planting for a
Yeah.
mow path behind it, leave 22 and then start planting up the
So-
hill so you can get a mow, so you can mow a path, a strip under, on the,
I would like to have that considered. I will tell you, I am very impressed with that area where you're putting the barn, because I had the neighbor come over and talk to me, and he said it used to be all invasives, that whole area. And these people, when they bought it, I think maybe that's the project from 2007, and they got rid of all the invasives, and he said he used to play wiffle ball, and they gave up trying to find the ball because it was so bad. And it really is an improvement. So I do appreciate what they've done, and I think as far as the barn and the little drive area, those are great. I will say, we did check with Board of Health, and I guess they're slated, they should be on sewer, and they're not, because of the grinder hasn't been put in yet. I saw all that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the living space at the top of the barn is, but depending when you're doing this, if they're not on sewer, you may have to check with Board of Health.
Right, yeah, it's anticipated that they won't finish off the second floor until
After,
the sewer's
yeah.
available.
I figured that probably, but I just wanted to make sure you knew
Yeah,
that. Anybody else have any comments or any feelings about what Eric said? Janet's already said it, I've said it. Go ahead.
I'll say it. I like the other location for the mitigation.
I think that to effectively add the mitigation area over there would require a large amount of invasive removal for.
no, you're not inside. In between. No, you're not taking anything out. You got plenty of room to go up the banking, because they've mowed almost halfway down.
So you're suggesting then having the 500 and whatever, and then a mow strip between?
No,
Yeah. Well,
between, so that
leave
the
a
stuff doesn't
spot.
creep back up the hill, creep back in, have a mow strip.
If the commission is looking to have the mitigation in that area, we'll probably be reducing it to 352, which is the net increase, and not the 500 square.
And I get that. I think, we've already got some nice mitigation on the other side. If you did that
Yeah, you got like
invasive removal in
6
there,
beach
that would be
plum.
terrific, and then just, you could decrease your mitigation. I do love when people offer more than what's necessary, but
You
I
got a
think
pretty-
location is kind of key for us right now, for this.
Yeah, you got a pretty big area on that triangle coming in on the left, pretty good size, and then swoop it up. You can't go too far in the corner, but there's plenty of room to put, 300-something square foot in? Yeah. Plus your irrigation's right
So
there.
think about it and evaluate, and maybe,
Okay, I think we just saw the opportunity to kind of remediate that area that was overgrown.
we'd
before
still
some of
love that, of course.
That's more, yeah, that's like a restoration. You guys go at it.
But, I mean, see what the homeowner thinks. And,
I'll state that I'm okay with either way. I like where you have it now. The other spot's fine with me too. So I'd go either way.
okay, so,
Mostly because it's bigger, the other spot, or where you currently are.
yeah. I mean, it's
Well,
lovely
they're
what
gonna
you're
restore
proposing.
the other area anyway, and then
Yeah.
they're gonna have the add-on to equal the same amount, I guess.
So, when,
2007, so you can have
would you like to come back?
that. That's up to Mike.
Yeah, he's got the work. You're off this time, David.
got a
You
busy
lucked out. We have March 26th, April 2nd, April 9th, April 23rd, then we're into May.
So for March 26th, when would,
Well, because we've heard it, it's the Friday before, correct?
Yes,
Catherine?
10 days before, or the Friday before.
No, that's for a new. I think it's the
Friday
Friday before, but like Thursday before, because we get our packets Friday at noon.
next Thursday?
So, like the,
Is that all right? to
let's
be
see,
there?
today's the 12th, so 19th, 20th.
Yeah, so what was it
April
again?
2nd.
April 2nd, yes. That sounds good.
Why is it double starred?
Good.
Yeah,
I move that we continue 112 Independence Lane to April 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Cheryl,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
and I say aye. So we'll see you then. Thank you. All right, Catherine, the next.
Okay, we have a request for a certificate of compliance at 19 and 29 Narrow Way, map 16K and 16J, parcels 7-Y6 and 24-Y1, for Andrew Young at number 19 and Linda and Thomas Botsford at number 29, SE 10 3282, repairs and modifications to existing gabions. The work was never done, and it is recommended to close out SE 10 3282 with no work completed.
Okay,
I move that we close out SE 10-3282 for no work ever done.
Second.
Cheryl,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, the next, please.
Okay, request for a certificate of compliance at 19 and 29 Narrow Way for Andrew Young of number 19 and Linda and Thomas Botsford of number 29, maps 16K and 16J, parcels 7-Y6 and 24-Y1, SE 10 3366, stone revetment to replace existing gabions. It's recommended to approve this COC with ongoing conditions, including special condition 6, 19, 20, 21, and 22, and standard condition D1. Special condition 19 includes a 35 cubic yards of nourishment on an as-needed basis, and when the nourishment occurs, special condition 20 and 21 are required for the monitoring reports in order to have a record of the conditions of the site.
Okay, anybody have anything, any comments?
Yeah, it looks, I just had a quick comment. I just, it looked great, except there's a marking stake sticking out of the ocean. It's like 2 feet underwater. Why do engineers feel the need to drive in marking sticks out in the water? I mean, I don't get it. And then because they obviously do it at low tide, but when they go to pick up after themselves, it must be high tide.
What does it look like?
It's a 2x2 or whatever they are, regular marking stake. It's in the water.
The stakes that you do to mark
Was
that,
it just
it's
front
in
of
the water.
boathouse? Just in front of the boathouse?
In the water.
Oh,
Well, I think it's marking, a side of it,
like a lot line?
yeah, or something like that, but
I
I
didn't
just,
see anything like that. It's hard to get a stake to persist in the intertidal zone. They just get wiped out, even, especially in the.
well, I know, because that's the whole problem with those
Somebody
things.
might have just recently done some surveying there that
No,
wouldn't be
no,
related.
no, it's an old stake when it was originally
I'll go
done.
take a look, but I
If they
didn't,
could just pull it out, would be great, you know?
provided it's not a record point that somebody considers valuable, but I will go look. I didn't see anything like that.
No, it's,
But you got my curiosity.
yeah. Oh, we've seen this before, you know?
Yeah, this is not,
These
first.
marking stakes are like a plague. They just leave them in the ground when they're done.
Most survey stakes are an inch by an inch,
Yes.
and, well, I thought the project was very well executed and.
Oh, it
all
was.
well, but that's a curiosity for me, so we'll take a look.
Well, the reason I brought it up is I was telling I used to work for a customer on Oyster Pond, and every year we'd pick up trash on the beach, and at least half a dozen of them stakes would wash up on someone's, beach. They're just unbelievable. People don't pick them up, when they're done, like COCs. Pick up the stakes, put them away before the COC. I don't understand it.
Well, we were very careful with stakes. I usually don't see them lasting past the inception of the project, let alone its,
Well, I know, because they've been already taken out by the high tide.
or the machine.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check it out.
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Can I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve this certificate of compliance for 19 and 29 Narrow Way with the conditions and special conditions as noted.
Second.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next one, please.
Okay, request for a certificate of compliance at 190 Stage Island Road, map 13A1, parcel D150 for Deborah A. and David D. Phillips Jr., Mass DEP SE 10-3399, coastal bank stabilization via installation of coir fiber rolls and revegetation of the bank, and Paul has the recommendation for this one.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I went out and inspected the property today. Mr. Perry is there, and I believe Keith Johnson from Blue Flax is there. Everything looked good to me. The fiber roll array looked good. It was covered in most places. There was a small area that wasn't. The staircase was built in accordance with the plan. There's a couple of stakes in the water, Eric. I think those.
Yeah, I want to
Not in the
apologize. I
water.
thought we were done with narrow. I thought we were on 190.
Oh,
I'm talking
so
about
it's not-
190.
Now I have an answer for you
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, okay.
There is. There
I-
are, excuse me, there are stakes at 190. If you went down and looked at it, there are stakes pretty similar to what you just
Yeah,
described for the
I
other project.
apologize. I thought we were finished
Yeah,
with it, but I
that's
see it
right.
twice on here.
They're used for elevation, basically, to determine when the fiber rolls need to be recovered. There were some sprinkler heads up top that will probably have to be removed because they were temporary for the first 2 years of mitigation. There was a number of other mitigation areas up above the coastal bank, but the coastal bank looks stable. The application's complete. If Bob wants to chime in on his certification, and Keith, that would be appropriate, I think, and then I'll give you my recommendation.
Thanks, Paul. Bob Perry, Cape Cod Engineering. I thought this project was extraordinarily well executed. I was there during the fiber roll install and made several visits afterward. We had some very serious weather in 23 and 24, and Blue Flax came in and managed the cover. And the project speaks for itself when you go there. My certification was rendered through our correspondence, and we turned in 3 monitoring reports that were provided by Blue Flax. Their last monitoring report had a certification statement in it, and I can't add anything to Blue Flax's certification, but I am aware from what Paul said, there's still temporary irrigation that can be readily removed if you need. The stakes that were down on the intertidal area by the salt marsh, I think I remember two, they were benchmarks that were convenient for monitoring the circumstances there. They're not essential. There's all kinds of elevation points we have elsewhere, so those can be removed. The ongoing conditions were enumerated. Crystal fed back to us, and we included the details of the ongoing conditions for everyone's reading, so you don't have to pluck them out of the order. And I know the further monitoring, further planting at times, and sand cover for the lower end of the fiber roll arrays is essential going forward. And other ongoing conditions, prohibition of, herbicides, pesticides, that's all somewhat of a standard. There was one in there about the swimming pool monitoring for cracks. They do that anyway. So there were no objections to the ongoing conditions that were placed into the order. They were a little bit redundant, maybe 2 or 3 of them were repeated in different segments, but I know of no objections. I'm not sure Keith is on, but.
He is.
Oh, he is, good. So Keith may want to have something to add, but I was very well satisfied with our end of this, and it's really doing the work to stabilize that bank, and the vegetation came in extraordinarily well. Thanks.
Thank you. Keith, do you want to add anything?
He's saying he doesn't have a microphone.
Oh.
Might be muted.
Smoke
he's-
signals.
Yeah, he's muted, which he'd have to unmute, but he doesn't have a mic?
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't have anything to add, we're fine.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
Janet has her hand up. Janet, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Keith is muted, because I just wanted to say that I couldn't agree more with what Bob said about the success overall of this project. And it's one of the very first ones that we approved when I first joined the commission, and I spent a couple of years chewing my nails looking at it, going, oh my God, is this going to work? And I just want to say it's the poster child for Teresa always saying to me, don't judge a project during its ugly phase. Wait. And sure enough, this one does that. And thank you for including all the photos from those monitoring reports so we can actually see how it changed over time into a success. So well done, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Keith does have the ability to talk now. So go ahead, Keith.
I might have the ability to talk, but the tech thing has always been a struggle. I just to reiterate what Bob said, this was a challenging project, and we are happy to remove that temporary irrigation that's up on the bank still. And I think from an ongoing nourishment perspective, I think we had this season only 4 yards to cover up the southern end, and we're going to do it with wheelbarrows over the top. So we won't have to use the neighbor's access to get in and around, which is always pretty tricky and title dependent. So thank you. That's really all I had to add.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, then I think we can have a motion.
I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 190 Stage Island Road.
Second.
Okay, Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Guess what? We have one more motion.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And Janet?
Aye.
And
Aye,
I
aye.
say aye, and enjoy your weather, Janet.
Thank you. Will do. See
Bye.
you guys. Bye. Bye.